Alright, so today I'm going to be installing the corksport cold air intake on my 2016 Mazda Miata. To start off with, you got to remove your stock air box. Start off, you got a 10mm bolt. And then a 10mm bolt on the intake. And I'm going to go ahead and loosen the sound tube. I have the Versus sound tube delete, and I'm just going to pop it off to the side for a little bit. Alright, and then from here, while it's still mounted, I'm going to go ahead and take off my masked airflow. It's that BMW that just so happens to be going by right now. I'm going to leave it loose, but now that I got it out, and then next thing, you need to take off your overflow. There's going to be a little bit that comes out. Kind of lift up. And you got two little tabs that you kind of push towards the back of the car, and the whole overflow just comes out. Sticking it inside of the box that the air filter came in. And then your mass airflow sensor, you gotta reach underneath it, kind of get it to pop out of that little plastic housing that it's in. And push that off to the side for a minute. From there, pull it off of the throttle body. And go ahead and take your whole stock air box off. And then you're going to need this little rubber grommet right here. So you just go ahead and push it out. And you're also going to need this little grommet. Pull it right out. And then you're going to go ahead and just transfer these over to the box provided by corksport. Easy way to do it is you kind of pull this little metal out so that you can easily slide the rubber in, and then push the metal back through. And then for this, you go at it from the bottom, kind of just squish her on in there. If you have a little bit of lithium grease, that'll make your life easy, but I don't really need it. And then for the reinstall, you're going to go ahead and line it up down the push pin, push it in, and then you get your little 45-degree piping that you're going to put over this part over here. Alright, fits on there a little different than you would expect, but nonetheless. And go ahead and grab your filter. I pre-assembled mine inside, because all you do is just put the clamp on it. And using a 3mm Allen key, undo the little bolts. And if you look, the direction that you're going to go, so you're going to place it with the plug facing towards the front of the vehicle. And then just tighten it down hand tight. Since this is a plastic housing on the MAF sensor, you don't want to break that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and drop it in there. You can go ahead and grab your piping. Go ahead and slip that on over it to begin with. I'm actually going to take that back out, put it on here. And you kind of work this into the box. And as you're working it into the box, and then slip it onto the throttle body. You're going to want to actually put the T-bolt in facing the other direction. Alright, there we go. And then I'm not going to tighten that just yet because I need to get the filter on. Go ahead and install a T-bolt down there. As you can see, it is possible without grease. Just takes a little bit. So they definitely have some tight tolerances on this box. See if I can loosen this T-clamp just a little bit more. Oh yeah, they definitely have some tight tolerances on this intake system. So it took a little bit of work, but I got it on there. Now I'm going to work on making sure the throttle body is on as far as it goes. Alright. At this point, just tighten her up. It's one of those times where power tools are nice, but I'm honestly doing this in the parking lot of my work, so I don't really have all my power tools on me right now. I kind of just wanted to get this on. Those all tightened up. I'm going to go ahead and reinstall the sound tube. Delete. For this, just get that on first. Just get her to sit. Get it as flush as you can. And then, bam, just like that. Very important thing not to forget is your mass airflow sensor. You just tuck it in through this little bridge port that they have and snap it in. then from there, very important thing, obviously, don't want to ever forget this, is to reinstall your coolant overflow. It just snaps right back down into place. And then from there, obviously, you can put the lid on. I honestly want to see what it sounds like without the lid, and then I'll throw the lid on. So go ahead and move all my tools really quick. And I'm going to start her up. I'm actually going to go ahead. Now I'm going to install the box and see how it sounds with the box on. Alright, and then very important thing that I almost forgot was just reinstalling that 10mm bolt that holds the box to the chassis in the front. And now I'm going to go ahead and mic up the car again. Alright, so I'm all done installing the intake. I'm gonna get some clips of me driving it and see what it sounds like under load, top up, top down, all that situations. But other than that, I would definitely recommend this. This was a relatively easy install and it's a really good quality intake. My coworker actually has a corksport intake on her Mazda 3 that I installed, and I installed these corksport brake kit and corksport lowering springs. So corksport life out here at work. Alright, so this is the sound of the intake with the top up. As you can hear, you definitely hear the intake, but at a certain point it transfers to you just hearing the exhaust, which is pretty typical if you ask me with all intakes. There's only a certain point that you're going to hear them before it switches to you just hearing the exhaust. So yeah, other than that, I like it. I definitely hear it a little bit, but I feel it. That's the main thing, is you feel the response. Once I get all my mods on, I will be getting a tune from probably, I think it's Fab 9, but once I get up here, I will drop the top and get another. Alright, so this is the intake with the top down. See, I'm not 100% sure how much this mic is picking up because I have the mic in the cabin. But that's also what I want, is I want you guys to get a comparison of when you're sitting in the driver's seat, what you hear versus miking up the actual intake so that you hear the intake over everything else. It's like, I can mic the intake all day, but that's not a true comparison to sitting in the driver's seat, in my opinion. And when I installed it, I mic'd up so you could hear it, but like personally, I think it sounds better without the lid on top of it. It's like when I was at a car show last night, I took the lid off so people could see the actual filter and the cold air intake. But if corksport put a lid on it, they put a lid on it for a reason, and that reason is to keep heat out, because you still use the factory cold air pull from the front, and also probably to keep water out, because your coolant hoses sit right above your filter, and God forbid one busts and just drop all that coolant right into your air filter and your hydrolock. So as much as, yes, you can get more sound by having that lid off, I think it's worth it to just leave it on and use the product as it was intended to be used. But other than that, this has been my video for installing the corksport cold air intake on an Indy Miata. Hope you all have a great day.